in Mexico City. When she's here, she goes to Gateway, but I want you to give her a warm round of applause. Come on up, Victoria. Victoria, everybody that's got a testimony, everybody that's got something that's gone on in their lives, there was probably a before Jesus. And sometimes that before Jesus, maybe it's not all that you wanted it to be or whatever, but tell it, I mean, it's a great group, right?
Yeah.
So tell them you're before Jesus.
Before I met Christ, I grew up in a Christian home like most normal Americans, but I never truly understood what it was like to really follow God's heart and His desires and what He wanted for my life. I grew up with my mom and my two sisters. My parents got divorced when I was 3. My mom got remarried when I was 9 to an amazing man of God now. So it's awesome to have the example of who Christ is in a man as well, as many of us are lacking a father. So it's awesome to see that and grow up in a home where God is really there. God's love's there, and that's how I grew up.
So how did you meet Jesus? When you met Jesus, was there like this aha moment for you? What did that look like?
Yes. I was 16 and I was in trouble. I was grounded for a big season of my life. It was a summer and months after that where I had lost all trust with my parents. I was getting in a lot of trouble with boys specifically. And I had nothing and nobody. My phone was taken from me. My friends were taken from me, everything. And I knew who God was, and I realized I needed Him in that moment, and not only in that moment, but for all of my life. And that was the moment that I said, okay, God, here you go, here, have all of who I am, because I want you, and I need you. And that was when the Lord really started to impact my life and take over, when I gave Him 100% of all of who I am.
That's awesome picture. So when you met Jesus, like, tell these students, like, what's the payoff since then? What's it been like with Christ?
Well, I went to Colleyville Heritage High School my first 2 years of high school, and I transferred over to a very, very small school with 7 people because the Lord said, you have to give it all away to be with me. And from that moment when I was 16, the Lord has opened doors of mission work. And I have now been to 6 different countries. I currently live in Mexico City. I've been living there almost a year. I work with human trafficking and with people who live on the streets.
Wow. That is awesome. So if you were going to leave these people tonight with a life verse, something that would challenge them and encourage them, maybe to take some of those same steps you did, what would that life verse be?
Okay, I'm choosing to have my phone, sorry.
Go ahead.
But everybody out here is super young. I'm still a teenager myself. I'm just 19. I graduated high school early at 17, moved to Honduras, so I know what it's like being a teenager. I've got 2 younger sisters. And I think something that's really hard is the world tells you you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you're not old enough, or you're not mature enough. That's not true. We serve a God who's big enough, who does these certain things. There's no junior Holy Spirit. It's the same Holy Spirit that lives in Him as in you guys.
That's right. It
doesn't matter that He's a pastor and you're students in high school. You can do the same thing. And so this is a verse that the Lord gave me before I moved to Honduras when I was 17. It was Jeremiah 1:7-8. It says, do not say, I am only a youth, for to all to whom I send you, you shall go, and whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you, declares the Lord.
That's awesome. Y'all give it up for Victoria. Thank you so much.